At some point, everyone has gone through a breakup with someone they loved deeply, someone they loved so much it hurt. And for each of us, that experience is always incredibly painful. Today, I want to explore what happens to us during a breakup, and how to recognize whether you're dealing with emotional or romantic dependence. Let's try to understand what people go through during a breakup. Take this example. A woman leaves a man. What is she feeling in that moment? She feels like she no longer loves him. The emotions and feelings she once had are gone. She looks at him with empty eyes, and inside she feels nothing. The butterflies in her stomach are gone. Her eyes no longer light up like they used to. When the man hugs or kisses her, she feels indifferent. Even his scent no longer excites her. And right then, in that exact moment, the woman starts to plan her exit. Soon after, she makes a firm decision and tells the man directly. That's in the best-case scenario. Sometimes guilt kicks in, but she still ends up leaving. Either way, the core truth is the same. She has fallen out of love with her partner. Even after the breakup, she might still suffer and wonder, did I make the right choice? It wasn't an easy decision for her. Inside, a battle begins between her conscious mind and her subconscious. She knows there's no going back. She knows she can't fall in love again with a man she's lost interest in, but because of emotional attachment and habit, she still finds herself drawn to him. Let's not forget, women are generally much more emotional than men. That's been proven time and time again. And because of that, they're often able to process the pain, let go, and move on from a breakup more easily. But what does a man feel in that moment when a woman leaves him? For him, the breakup often comes like a bolt from the blue. When she tells him she's leaving, especially if it's unexpected, he feels an intense, almost unbearable pain. He might be emotionally or romantically dependent on her, and in the worst-case scenario, he's dealing with both types of dependence at once. For most men, the first instinct after a woman leaves is to try to get her back. If he's romantically dependent, his main goal becomes winning her back at any cost and continuing the relationship. If he's emotionally dependent, his goal is just to have her near, not necessarily to fix the relationship, but simply to not lose her presence. He can't imagine life without her. He doesn't know how to move forward without her in it. But what he really needs is to close that emotional loop, to resolve his unfinished emotional business. And that's why the breakup hits him harder. He'll often desperately search for any way to get back the woman who has already walked away. Emotional dependence is a form of codependency, a kind of addiction to another person, without whom you feel like you can't function at all. The dependent person places their partner at the very center of their life. They become completely immersed in the partner's problems and interests, while forgetting their own goals, plans, passions, and hobbies. They even lose sight of their own future and turn a blind eye to the partner's flaws. In emotionally dependent relationships, a person feels the need to spend all their time together. When you're apart, you might feel excessive jealousy, anger, or even depression. That person becomes like a part of you, like a piece of your own body has been torn away, and without it, you're struggling to cope. The emotionally dependent person constantly craves intense feelings. They rely on their partner for emotional fuel, for motivation, for energy. And that emotional energy becomes the thing they use not just to feel happy, but to keep moving forward in life. And when that emotional connection begins to fade, when they feel their partner pulling away, panic sets in. They're overwhelmed by a sense of loss. They might have emotional breakdowns, outbursts, jealousy. Time feels like it stops, and suddenly, life without that person seems meaningless. People in this state are often at risk for suicidal thoughts, and sometimes They use this as a form of manipulation, begging their partner to stay. When someone is deeply emotionally dependent, they'll go to great lengths to get that person back. They'll pour all their money, time, and energy into trying to win them over again. Their emotional attachment only grows stronger, and they're driven by the need to feel something, to receive those emotional highs again, and finally find peace within themselves. But in reality, what they truly need is to close the emotional business, to resolve the unfinished inner story. Because if that emotional closure doesn't happen, the pain will linger for a long time. Meanwhile, their partner, feeling trapped by the codependence, will likely do everything they can to escape. Unlike emotional dependence, love addiction is when a person doesn't completely lose themselves in the relationship. They still remember their own interests, responsibilities, and activities, and they don't place their partner above everything else in life. Yet despite that, both partners still suffer from love addiction. At the beginning of the relationship, things feel great, they're comfortable and happy together. But when they're apart, it's painful. Later, toward the end of the relationship, things get even harder. They feel bad both together and apart. When the relationship eventually falls apart, both partners go through the pain of separation. They may want to get back together, but they don't know how, because by that point, all the negative emotions have clouded their love and buried the good memories. Eventually, one of them accepts the breakup. To truly overcome love addiction, it's important to redirect your focus, shift your attention to something or someone else that genuinely brings you joy. Personally, I don't recommend jumping into something new right away. This can lead to what's sometimes called a rebound relationship, where the person hasn't had enough time to heal or cool off emotionally. In this kind of situation, they're likely to keep thinking about their past relationship, comparing their new partner to their ex, and that often leads to disappointment and another breakup. So what actually causes breakups? Most of the time, it comes down to not being able to manage yourself or your emotions. One person might start placing too much importance on the relationship, becoming clingy or overly obsessive. Or the opposite might happen. They give too little attention, becoming distant or neglectful. Then there are practical factors, day-to-day issues, personal problems, and other stressors that slowly build up. All of these things together can push someone to the point of deciding to end the relationship. What conclusions can we draw from all this? If a woman has left you, it most likely means there were some issues, possibly mistakes you made. That's why it's so important to reflect, analyze yourself, and figure out what went wrong. Learn from it so you don't repeat the same mistakes in your future relationships. Chances are you lost the balance of value in the relationship, and that's one of the most common reasons relationships fall apart. When that balance shifts too far, when a woman starts to feel like she's more important than you, or like you've put her on a pedestal, she begins to lose respect and appreciation for you. She starts to grow cold and instinctively pulls away. And at that point, it's no longer something she can control. So, there's no point in blaming anyone. Instead, understand that you must always maintain the balance of value in your relationships. Keep your self-worth high and never give it away. Now, if everything seemed fine and she still betrayed you, then yes, the issue likely lies with her. In that case, the best thing you can do is go no contact. Create distance. Redirect your energy into meaningful things. Your work, hobbies, passions, anything that helps you focus on yourself and move forward.